Hello YouTube, I just thought I'd go through a history of the guns that I own and that I've bought throughout the years. The first gun we see here is a Smith & Wesson Police Positive 5. This was the very first handgun that I ever bought. A friend of ours had come over on a particular day and they were moving out of town and they didn't want to take it with them through the States because at the time nobody really knew unless you actually called a police station in the local vicinity where you could carry one through and where you couldn't carry one through. So she wanted to sell it for about $300 at the time, and I was like, no, I don't really need a gun that bad. And a couple weeks before she left, she came over and said, well, I really don't want to take this with me. How about I give you, you give me $200 for it, and we'd be good. And that's where it all started, is with this gun here. This is the one gun that I do have that I will not get rid of. It is a really cool gun. It shoots really well. It's snappy. It's just a beautiful gun. So again, this gun here is a Jimenez 380 ACP. It was one of the first guns that I actually concealed carry. It probably wasn't the best choice at the time, but for the money, it's it's all I could afford. It was actually the first time I decided that I better go down to the courthouse and get my concealed weapons permit. It fit really well inside of Uncle Mike's size. I think it was 2, something really small like that. It fit really well in my waistband. It just had some reliability problems that still to this day I kind of wonder about, because I've had to take it apart and fluff and buff the slide ramp and all that kind of fun stuff. It shoots a lot better now, but it's definitely not something I carry. As we go along, I'll get into the stuff that I carry now and the stuff that I have carried and I probably aren't carrying or won't carry anymore. So this is a Jennings Firearms, aka Brico Arms. This gun this is probably the second gun I own. At the time I received this gun, my father had passed away a couple months, and at the time didn't even know he had a gun. When I got it, I started doing some research on it and realized that these guns had really high failure rates on the slides. The slides are made out of a cheap pot metal. And from what I understand, the company got sued because they didn't have a loaded chamber indicator on them. So people were shooting themselves. As far as I'm concerned, as long as you have a gun in your hand or anywhere around, it's considered always loaded. But obviously it didn't matter because they actually ended up going out of business, and they sold their business to a company called Jimenez Arms, which is the prior gun to this one. Little guy was the little 380 I was showing you earlier, my first concealed carry gun. I have yet to get this one working because this one has a broken slide. There's a couple companies I can try to find pieces, slides and whatnot, but it's kind of becoming more difficult. So this one might actually just, well, as it's been sitting now, just in a box in the closet. So if you don't recognize this gun, this is a Hi-Point 40 cal. This is a huge gun. It's a monster gun, not caliber-wise, but just size-wise. This thing just fits in your hand like a brick. This gun was purchased one day when a friend of mine who was moving back to Iowa kept talking to me about a 30-30 I had in my gun cabinet, how he wanted to buy it, and I would never sell it to him because I just didn't want to, I'm not that type of guy. I don't like giving prices on what you want to buy from me. So he came up and he offered me $600, and I said, 30-30 is yours, take it, go ahead. So I grabbed that money and I ran down the street and I was at the gun shop and I was kind of saving some money at the time, so I figured, I want to buy something, but I don't want to buy something too expensive. So I picked this up and I picked it up for $200 at the local shop. It shoots really well. The weight on it is massive, so that's why the recoil on this thing is really not all that bad. For somebody just going out and plinking on the weekend or something, this is a great gun. But for like a concealed carry, this is a mammoth gun. The stamping on it, the fit and finish on it is not great at all. As a lot of you folks out there know, the Hi-Point guns are they're just big. So this is my SW9VE, chambered in 9mm. I got this gun. I was working for a company who handed out quite a large bonus one year. So the wife and I went shopping, and I ended up in another little pawn shop, and they had this brand new in the box. I think it was $289. I bought it, went out and shot it, and then realized real quick that the trigger pull on this thing is a monster. It's like around 12 pounds, I think. So I searched around on YouTube and found the trigger mod, and some gentleman was talking about how you could polish down the sear block to get the roughness out of it, and it pulls a lot better now. It's still maybe around a 10 pound, maybe 9 pound if we're lucky. I don't really have a way of telling. I don't have a pressure tester, but it's a really nice gun. It carries really well on my side. I have a Blackhawk Serpa 2 holster for this thing, and it really fits well, especially during the wintertime when I don't want to carry something so much in my waistband. I can carry this on my hip, and it's not a big deal. It's a really, really nice gun. It's it fits well in your hand. It's just a cool little gun, and I'm actually glad I bought it because it was like I walked in and I was like, this is a gun I need to have. So I'd like to say thank you to the Tribes for this one. The wife and I went out one night down to the casino, just had some dinner and play a couple slot games, and I hit pretty decent enough money, and I wasn't planning on buying a gun, but there's a local store downtown here that sends me a flyer every month or so, and I got this flyer, and this was in the flyer. This is a Taurus PT709. It was my first foray into in the waistband concealed carry, and this gun is absolutely amazing. I love shooting this gun. It's small enough, it fits nice in the hand. The trigger guard has tons of room in front of the trigger to get your finger in there. It's just a nice gun all around. And I picked up a holster online for this thing. It was a cheap little $40 holster. It was Kydex and leather, and it's been probably one of the best in the waistband carry holsters I have. And this gun itself, I can put it on there, and sometimes I don't even know I don't remember it's on. I'll be doing something. Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, there's a gun back there. But again, this is my PT709, and again, I'd like to thank the Tribes for this one. Let's move on. So, if you can't tell, this is a Rock Island Armory 45 ACP GI model. This is one of those guns where I kind of always wanted a 45, but I didn't want to invest the money into one just because they can get so expensive on the backside. And I just happened to be walking through another local shop around here, a large shop around here. And they had one. They had a couple of them in the case. This one I believe was $489 out the door. And of course, the grips on this have been changed. You can tell these are like a Hogue. I think they're called Hogue Extreme grips or something like that. And I threw those on there. And this gun, I love shooting this gun. Whenever I get a chance, I will shoot this gun. This is another one that I thought I might carry inside the waistband. But for anybody who ever carried a 45 this size in the waistband, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world. So I bought a Galco in the waistband holster for it. And of course, I think I wore it one day and just like, yeah, this isn't going to happen. So I bought myself another Galco nice outside the waistband holster for maybe wintertime. I haven't had this long enough to be, wintertime to see what the weight's like on the side of it. But it's a pretty decent gun. I've had little to no failures. I mean, I've had nothing happen with it. It keeps just shooting and shooting and shooting. And if you look around on YouTube, this gun here, there's hardly any failures with it. And if there are, the company the Rock Island Armory folks, they will fix this gun with no questions asked. They have no problems fixing it. Their customer service is absolutely amazing. I can't say enough about these guys. They're absolutely awesome. So this is the last gun I bought, which was a couple months ago. Kel-Tec PF9. I bought this one used. It's one of those guns I kind of had in the back of my mind that I've kind of always wanted, but never really, looked for it when I was out and about or around. I happened to sell a shotgun, just a plain old Mossberg 500 shotgun to a friend of mine one day, and just happened to be down at the store one weekend, and they had one used, and I said, what the hell not? I got this extra money, I'll pick this thing up. So of course it was used when I got it. It had some wear on the slide, so what I did is I used Duracoat to redo the slide, which came out absolutely amazing. I'm impressed 100% on how this system works. It was just a Duracoat shake and spray. I think they call this Blackhawk Desert Coyote Tan or something like that. Blackhawk Coyote Tan, I think is what it is. I redid that, and I've got some paint coming in for the sights on this thing, hopefully at the end of the week here. But again, this is another possible concealed carry option of mine. The Taurus definitely is something I will carry, but this is something I'm looking into carrying. You see a lot of videos about people who say they explode, they break, they do this, they do that, but their customer service is awesome. I'm not saying it's the greatest gun in the world, and I'm not saying I'm going to carry it all the time, but right now, it's one of them project guns. I spent a couple $100 on it. I figured, what the hell, I'll give it a shot. It shoots pretty decent. It's a little snappy on the hand, so it's not something you're going to take to the range and put a couple hundred rounds through and feel great about. So, again, folks, thanks for watching this video. I hope you like it. Feel free to leave comments. I've got no problem with that whatsoever. If there's something I've done wrong or something I said wrong, yell at me. I don't care. Again, this is just something I've been doing for a while. It's been kind of fun. So, again, talk to you later.